So I have intentionally not talked about the Israel-Palestine conflict for a very good reason. It's very complicated, and people have been so quick to jump into the news and to report on stories without knowing all the facts. And I think the biggest example of this is the hospital incident, where it came out that Israel had bombed a hospital and killed 500 people. Just straight up did that. And this report came out and it ran through a lot of media. A lot of people online said this. A lot of people ran with it instantly. And then you come to find out that the report itself came from Hamas. Now, I don't think I need to tell you why that might be a little bit of a conflict of interest. Don't need to tell you why that may be the case, right? But it turns out through some evidence and through some looking around that there is more evidence to suggest that this is possibly a malfunction rocket from Hamas themselves, and that they just pinned the blame on this on Israel. Now, this is not confirmed, this is not fact, but there is some evidence to suggest that. So what I have up here is New York Times article. Now, a lot of people were positing that a video showed the rocket exploding there and then malfunctioning. However, the New York Times has found that that particular video took place about 2 miles away from the hospital. So it's not quite accurate. They were not saying that Hamas didn't do it, only that that particular video used as evidence by Western media that Hamas did it themselves is not fact. However, they do also state in this same article the following. This is in regard to the explosion that happened at the hospital. The hospital itself was not directly struck. Whatever caused the explosion actually hit the hospital courtyard, where people had gathered for safety and a handful of parked cars. Moreover, the crater left from the impact was relatively small, a fact that Israel has cited in arguing that none of its munitions caused the blast and could be consistent with a number of different munitions. Hamas has not produced a remnant of Israeli munition or any physical evidence to back up its claim that Israel is responsible. U.S. intelligence officials said on Tuesday that agencies had assessed the video, which is a Palestinian rocket launched from a Gaza undergoing a catastrophic motor failure before part of the rocket crashed into the hospital grounds. A senior intelligence official said that the authorities could not rule out that new information could come to light would change their assessment, but said they had high confidence in their conclusions. So there is some evidence to suggest that this was a failed Hamas rocket. Now, none of this is proven. None of this is fact, right? This is just differing evidence going one way or the other. Now, the fact that Hamas has not produced any proof that this was an Israeli munition, no remnants of the explosion, nothing, is very concerning to me in terms of evidence, right? If they wanted to prove that this was Israel, then they would do their damn best to find any remnants of the explosion that could prove that it was tied back to Israel munitions. But they didn't, and they haven't produced that. And the fact that Israel's saying, yeah, that crater's way too small for anything we would do. If we were going to blow up a hospital, we'd make it much bigger, is kind of fucked up in a way. But it's also their way of saying that we couldn't have done this. Now, am I taking the side of Israel on this? By no means am I taking their side on this. I am only saying that there is no way to prove this. But leave it to popular lefty streamers to run with it and to say that this is fact. Popular streamer Hassan Piker, we all know this guy. You don't need me to tell you who he is. Ran with this and reported on it multiple times as it was happening. He stated that this was, in fact, Israel bombing a hospital multiple times. And I think that this goes to show that maybe when these kinds of things happen, there is no problem in just waiting. You could just wait. You don't have to report on these things the moment they happen. There's no reason for that. You don't lose anything by waiting a little bit. Now, for Legacy News, a lot of their money comes from instantly reporting things, right? But when you do that, you need to make sure that you are saying, hey, this is coming from a Hamas source, and that this source could be biased, and that this information isn't 100% proven yet. That is the job of journalists, is to say, this is what's happening right now, but we don't know for certain what it is or who did it or what is, exactly happened, right? Because now there are people contesting, even if people even died there, if how many people died there, who did it, and when it happened. There's just so much unanswered. And I think that it's really important for people online, people like me, but who make a lot more money than me and have a significantly larger audience than me. Thank you to my 2 fans who stick around. People who have a much wider audience need to sit back and say, hey, you know what, guys? I fucked up. So what do you do, the viewer of all of this going down? What do you do about the misinformation coming out about this particular issue? What do you do about it? You just sit and wait. You just wait a little longer, right? You start reading from multiple verified sources about what it could be, and if there is no clear conclusion, don't pick a side. Don't pick a side. If there's no way to prove that it was one way or the other, why on earth would you die on a hill that you don't even know what the hill is like there for? Why would you do that? There's no need for it. This is rather silly. You don't have to like die on a hill when you cannot prove your side, when your side literally just cannot be proven. There's no need for it. I think that you should take the based approach of saying, I don't know what the fuck happened, but here are some other things that either Israel has done that's really bad or Palestine has done really bad. That's probably a better way to argue your point. You don't have to take a side on something that you can't exactly prove. But there are historical things that Israel has done that are pretty fucking bad. There are some things that Hamas has done recently that are pretty fucking bad. And you can use both of these things to argue your side. You don't have to jump at the first opportunity to talk about a breaking news story. You will end up wrong sometimes. And you end up looking like a fucking idiot, which hurts your credibility as a person. And I think that's especially true for online content creators. You don't have to jump at this so quickly. You can choose to just say, I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know. Or you could say, I'm going to talk about it, but I'm not going to give a set in stone position on it because it's subject to change. And we've seen a lot of lefty streamers recently, people like maybe Vosh a little bit, maybe Hassan a little bit, maybe come out and saying, hey, you know what, while it's not verified, here's some evidence that it is Israel that did it, and maybe bringing some of that evidence to light. And we see a lot of people walking back their statements. And even massive news sources walking back their statements, now saying that there is contrary evidence and that this is not provable. And I think that's really telling for the people you watch. It's really telling to see how do they react to breaking news? Who do they jump to first? How do they react to breaking news when it comes to something that pushes their ideology forward, right? Because it's very easy for a leftist to go, oh, ha, ha, ha. Israel did bad thing. Let's run with that. Let's go with that. But it's much harder to take the principled position and say, well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see what exactly happened here. And then if it was Israel, if it's proven that it's Israel, then we can start condemning them for it. We can start talking about other war crimes they've committed. That's perfectly fine. But I think sometimes you need to be aware of who you're watching and their own ideologies and their own blind spots in their ideologies, right? Because everyone's got one. I've got one. You've got one. Certainly people on the left and people on the right have them. We all have them. But I think if you want to be principled and, I'll say it, based, then maybe the best position to take is one where you say, I don't know yet. Let's wait and see. And I think that's a very fair position to take. This is what lefties did with Kyle Rittenhouse. They did this with Kyle Rittenhouse. They did it with recently the Karen Bike woman. These are admittedly much smaller in scale, you know what I mean, than this conflict is. But you get my point, right? Right-wing people do this all the time too. You don't need me to tell you that, right? You know it. I know it. We all know it. My point is that sometimes it's just better to wait. Good things come to those who wait. And in this case, it's not looking like a fucking moron. So anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit like and subscribe. I'm going to try to start uploading a little more often. We'll see how things kind of go. Life is kind of hectic right now. So I apologize. I'm trying to stick to a schedule of 2 videos a week. I might go over that schedule. I might go under that schedule. I don't know right now. It's a little bit crazy. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye-bye.